What's everybody? I'm your host. No, I said what's everybody. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, taking over for DJ because he's got a bad case of the giraffe pox.
No,
Your heavyweight champion from
got
Witch
bit in the
Nigga,
eye by
California.
he got bit in the eye by two snakes.
Yeah, everybody getting bit by snakes. By the way, I recovered from that, by the way, and
Were
that's
they
why I'm
trouser
back.
snakes?
Extends.
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah, well, I'm your heavyweight champion from Witch Nigga, California, aka the janitor because we watch niggas, aka Thickless Cage, Marcus Ellison.
I am Sean MF Ross,
What that MF stand for?
Rusty Trombone.
What?
Don't Google.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
It's a sex act, and Sean is being weird. Let's move on.
And who are you?
I'm Avery.
Oh,
Yes, you
Marty
are.
Cooper.
And just in case no one is alarmed, DJ's here, just in spirit.
It's your
You'll
boy
hear him.
DJ, aka Sexy Bad Choices, aka. You know, I said I was going to forget that word, and I totally forgot that word. The ethereal producer. There we go. AKA. It wasn't monkeypox, guys. It wasn't snake bite. I just went in for a backyard surgery to get my face to look more like a Gundam, and it didn't go well. It didn't go well.
He went for BBLs, and they couldn't tell his face from his ass.
I said RX-78, and they gave me a BBL.
Oh shit, Sean, that was a bar.
That was good.
Anyway,
Okay, yeah, but yeah, with that out the way, Press X to Start podcast is a weekly show where we talk about the latest gaming news, review the biggest games, and give you our thoughts on the games that we're playing. Our goal is to expand the video game media landscape through an underserved point of view. And now we're going to go into what we have been playing. And to start it off, Avery and I have been playing The Last of Us Part 1. Sorry, The Last of Us Part 1 remake. So, Avery, do you want to go first with your thoughts, or should I?
You should go first.
Okay. So outside of just saying the obvious, which is it's just more Last of Us, I will say that this, and we've talked about this kind of in our Discord chats, but haven't like put it to wax. This feels like the definitive Last of Us experience in terms of like the first game. Like this looks and feels the way that it looked and felt in my head while I was playing the initial first game. Um, and it feels definitive in the way that like Persona 5 Royal felt like the definitive fully fleshed out version of Persona 5. So for that alone, I feel like it's a worthy addition to my collection. And it also makes so that there is a really seamless transition for those that haven't played the first Last of Us game and were like, oh, I've heard good things about this and the TV show's coming out, so I'll give this a check. Now that they have this remake that basically is built on the same engine and assets for the most part of Last of Us 2, now they can play Last of Us 1, the remake, and then go play Last of Us 2, and there's no jarring shift in graphical quality or gameplay because it's like literally seamlessly moving into that thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I concur with pretty much everything Marcus is talking about. This is the version of The Last of Us I've always had in my head thinking about that game. I played this game. This is going to be my sixth time going through the game, so I'm to a lesser extent going through the motions of playing it, but the experience is so much better in this game than any other version I've played. Like straight up, the accessibility features are on par with part two, if not better. Uh, the haptic feedback is just once again a chef's kiss of a feature that even though it makes my controller die every 50 minutes and it makes the controller itself way too expensive. It's like it's such a cool addition to the franchise. I'm excited to see what Naughty Dog does going forward. But the most exciting thing for me is that I'll finally be able to get the platinum trophy in The Last of Us and not want to punch my fucking summit my monitor when I have to play the game on grounded.
Oh, they changed that?
The trophies,
Yeah, not for yeah.
because of the accessibility features, there are no difficulty or skill-based trophies. There are only gameplay-based trophies of things you can do that won't say hurt someone who is not able to do it.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Another thing that's really cool about the kind of upgrades and the graphical fidelity is that it makes an already cinematic game feel that much more cinematic. Like the extra shading, the better graphical fidelity, even kind of the shifting or the better camera movement even.
The performance.
Like I'm not as far in as Avery is because Avery, you said you're at the part where you meet Henry and Sam, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm at the tail end of Pittsburgh.
yes. I'm still in Boston with Tess and Ellie, but the opening sequence, the opening 15 minutes of the game, just when everything goes to shit and you're in the car with Tommy and Joel, and you're seeing all the chaos. There's a point where you drive by like a burning barn and you can literally see parts of the barn crumbling and falling off. You can see explosions in the distance. You see people getting eaten on the side of the road. Like it's crazy what the attention to detail for this ground up remake has been, and I applaud the team for sure.
Yeah. This remake has 100%, even though I think a remake of a 10-year-old game that has already been remastered is an unnecessary flex, it is 100% a flex that is well justifies itself in my mind.
Mhm.
There's not much to really say about The Last of Us as an experience. You can go back to any conversation someone's had in the last 10 years about this game to be like, yes, all of that 100% still rings true. But in regards to why you should pick this up, honestly, this is the most subjective buy in the entire world. You buy this game right now, depending on how you feel. I'm someone who's a big fan of The Last of Us. It's one of my favorite games. I have no problem playing that game again. I'm also a person who has no issue with paying full price for a video game. So I didn't scoff at the $70 price tag when I saw it. But if
You vote with your dollars and support who you want to support.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
but if to other people, should you buy this game? I would say that unless you've never played this game before or you're a super hardcore fan, then you could probably wait on it. Yeah. And if you're one of those people super angry that it exists, the remastered is on the PlayStation Plus. It is on PlayStation Plus. So like you can play it. You can play the ideal version of the game that you want. I don't understand a lot of the fervor around this game.
It's
Yeah.
an
It's a cash
unnecessary
grab.
hill to die on.
All video games are a cash grab. It's a
Nah,
business.
It's frustrating because it's frustrating because it's just like, all right, well, if you have a problem with this game being available to people who really want the game, fine. You could just go sit in your room, turn off your computer, and just be mad. But like, you're not going to stop Sony from putting this game out. Like, they know this game is going to do gangbusters, and it's doing gangbusters. And this is basically a 10 out of 10 game that they just put polish on. So it's like, why wouldn't they do that? Like, if I don't know, X listener who's mad at this game but really loves, I don't know, Sonic 2, and Sega finally makes a remake of Sonic 2 and it looks like Last of Us, I'm pretty sure X listener is going to buy that.
I mean,
But
well,
it's
I
like,
think
there's a core difference between that is like Sonic 2 is a game that's like 25 years old, and it being remade would be a completely giant overhaul versus what
but
we
hasn't
had
it been
here.
remade at this point? in all the different Sonic
No, it's
collections
just
and
been
stuff?
re-released multiple times.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Sega's
like
lazy.
Is
Skyrim.
there this much bitching
Come on,
when they
Sega,
re-release
remake
Skyrim?
Sonic. Say again. What Skyrim?
Is there this much bitching and whining when they re-release Skyrim?
No,
No.
of course not. Like, one of my things right now is I think that Naughty Dog has just become an easy target post Last of Us 2, doing everything that people apparently didn't want them to do. And so this just adds more fuel to the fire for the people who are already kind of anti Naughty Dog.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff about this game is a lot of bad faith arguments, probably bolstered by a lot of console war bullshit, which we can all be guilty of. But this seems like out of control, insane in terms of a reaction to this game.
Yeah, like the fact that people are calling Naughty Dog evil for doing this is just weird because it's like it's not like one, they didn't even do crunch
No.
for this game to be made.
And that brings up a good point about this game is that one of the a lot of things Naughty Dog does is not without a tangible reason. One of the reasons they did the remaster, I want to point out the Last of Us 1 came out like a couple of years before the PlayStation 4 came out. I think it was probably the year.
No, it was a couple months.
Yeah. And then they put the remaster out there super quick at full price.
Yeah.
I don't think there was much complaints about that, but that's not a hero there. But one of the reasons
There was a little bit, but
one of the not to this level. One of the reasons they did that is that it allowed their Uncharted 4 team to get practice with the PlayStation 4 hardware, which made development on that game easier. And for this game, from what I can tell, from what things I've heard from the studio and anecdotes about people connected to the studio, is this game allowed them to keep parts of the Last of Us 2 development team employed, because typically what happens when games come out is that when the game is going, the further along a game goes, the more and more developers it requires, and then after it's come out, most of those developers are cut off to the wind because there's actually no work for them to be doing. This game, A, gave them work, and then B, because of its PlayStation 5 focus, gave them actual like hands-on time with the PlayStation 5 and its development tools to make further Naughty Dog games better.
So the PS3 version of The Last of Us came out June 14th, 2013. The PS4 came out November. What's that? 5 months later? November 15th, 2013. And then the remaster came out July 29th, 2014. So that's about 9 months later for the remaster. And about a year, slightly less than barely over a year for the remaster for The Last of Us.
Yeah. So this is my final take on this game is that Last of Us is a fucking fantastic game, and this just made it allowed it to maintain its position as a fantastic game, because old game is old and games age surprisingly quickly.
True.
Especially now. Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. And before we go further into what we have been playing, once again, those of you watching at home, please consider giving us a like, a subscribe, share, and make sure you turn on that notification bell and leave a comment if you so choose. And on top of that, for those listening, once again, please go on over to the YouTube channel and do everything that I just said and leave us a review on whatever platform, be it Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Music, or what have you. Give us a review because it helps us out. So
even if
thank
you're
you.
listening on a monkey, man, just give it a tug. It'll appreciate it.
What?
All right. On to the next.
What else have you been playing, Marcus?
Oh yeah, so I forgot how long it's been since I've been on this podcast. So in the time that I haven't been on, I have played 3 games. I played and beat As Dusk Falls, which goes back into the Xbox Game Pass thing that I was talking about earlier. I got back into Ghost of Tsushima for the Ikki Island DLC on a whim, and then I started playing the Quarry. So I'm just gonna kind of rapid fire through all three of these things because all of them are sort of old-ish at this point. Especially Ghost of Tsushima. As Dusk Falls, I think it's a solid game actually. The art style still isn't my favorite. I don't like that kind of moving light novel type of art style for a video game. So that was still throwing me off for a while, but eventually you just kind of get used to it, and they actually add a little bit more motion as things progress. The game takes place in 3 chapters and ends on a cliffhanger that I won't go into. But yeah, I was actually thrown off because when it ended, I was ready for there to be a chapter 4, and then the credits were rolling. And I'm like, what the? Okay, I thought it was a full on like one and done game, but it seems like there is supposed to be a sequel. But overall, solid experience. There is, because this game was done by former Quantic Dream devs, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that shows through in that there is a strong amount of choice. At the end of each chapter, they show you kind of how your choices had varying effects, and there's blanks on all the choices that you didn't take, and it's a surprising amount. And there's, I think, there's a possibility for like over 10 different endings depending on how you play the game. So I always champion those type of choose your own adventure games that actually have a lot of varying or branching paths, because that's the way it's supposed to be done. So overall, yeah, I liked As Dusk Falls. It was worthy of my time, and it was cool because one kind of little pastime with me and my roommate at this point is just her watching me play video games. So that's been cool. Next up, Ghost of Tsushima Ikki Island. I think Sean and DJ, you've already talked about this, right?
Yeah, I played it.
I downloaded it, but I didn't get a chance to play it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, it's more Ghost of Tsushima, so it's still great. I hadn't played Ghost of Tsushima in so long, so I had to go through that awkward
Getting your ass
re
whooped phase.
right, like relearn how to play this game phase. But it didn't take as long as I was expecting it to. And once, I got back on the bike, it was pretty easy to ride it again. And I was running fades left and right before I knew it. Just rolling up into camps and asking for the biggest nigga there. And the story of Ikki Island is actually pretty cool. It's very, even more so than the baseline storyline. It's very internal and really kind of goes into Jin's psyche and his guilt over what happened with his father. And there's aspects of it because the villain or the main antagonist, the eagle, kind of deals in poison. So there's elements of it that kind of bridge that gap between Legends and how that's very supernatural and the base game. And
That's pretty cool.
so that's actually, yeah, pretty cool. I'm relatively far into it, but I haven't played it in a bit because I started playing the Quarry and then Last of Us Remake came out, but I'll get it back around to it.
Do you feel like
yeah.
it's harder than the base game?
No. I think it's like
Damn, it's trash.
you were having a tougher time.
It may be just because I was so far removed from it though, but I feel like it was
Yeah.
whooping my ass initially.
Well, that makes sense though, because I think what I did is I kind of spent a good amount of time in the world to relearn everything before I started doing a lot of the story stuff. So by that time, I was already reacclimated to it.
I think it came out like a year after the game actually came out, so you forget what stance is strong against certain
Right.
enemies, and yeah.
Yeah. Though the game does pretty good with giving you tips. Like if
Mhm.
you're getting worked too much, it'll be like, all right, hey, this stance is good against these people. Just letting you know. But
Vital.
yeah, more good,
We notice that you're
more
dying a
Ghost
lot.
Tsushima.
Please read our game.
Hit
Couldn't help but
hit
notice
enemy
you
until
need
it
help.
dies.
And then outside of that, the Quarry, yet another choose your own adventure game, another game from Supermassive that I haven't played all of the Dark Anthology games. I played Man of Medan, uh, and the Dark Anthology games so far have sort of felt like lower end versions of Until Dawn.
Mm.
Whereas the Quarry feels like right at the same level of quality as Until Dawn. Uh, it's still that classic supermassive getting actual actors in there and names that you at least faces that you recognize. And there's
especially
this
from the Disney
weird
Channel.
right.
Yeah.
And there's this weird kind of like disconnect uncanny valley thing that happens with it, but overall, this is very much so a throwback to kind of 80s and 90s slasher films and sleepaway camp vibes. I think I'm like halfway through it, and it's a supermassive game. Like, you kind of know what you're going to get from it. And if that's what you like, then this is going to give you more of that. I also, I think this is the most characters they've had. I feel like this is more characters than Until Dawn for sure.
Yes, it's definitely more characters than Until Dawn. Until Dawn had the 6 cast members, then hunter,
Hmm.
the hunter, and that's about it. If you don't count like the therapist, and then this one
Hmm.
has your 6 count camp members. Then you have two extra camp counselors,
Right.
and then it has the entire family, which is about four, 6 characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a
So
bigger cast.
so it's a pretty big ensemble. It's a bit more ambitious in terms of gameplay. And yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's more supermassive. I'm having a good time with it, and it's just it's one of those situations where um it's a good communal experience, because if you get playing it by yourself is cool, but if you have like one or two more people in there and they're making choices with you, it makes it a little more interactive and fun for everybody. So that's kind of how I'm enjoying playing the game. Whereas like Ghost Tsushima, I'm playing that by myself or
Yeah,
Last of Us.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Cool.
I see.
Um,
So, me, I decided to drop into. Actually, I've been playing a redacted game, but you'll hear more about that come in a month or two. Uh, but for whatever reason, last night I decided to drop into Fortnite and checked out the Dragon Ball Super content, which I didn't realize was like a whole thing. I thought they just dropped in Goku and friends skin and dropped in the Kamehameha. It was actually a small little adventure thing where they drop you into a capsule corp tourist destination, and you approach Goku at a message board, what have you, and you collect a Dragon Ball, and you can go on these little mini quests to collect more Dragon Balls. Um, I think they send you in a hyperbolic time chamber, and what the hell did they have you doing there? I think practice with the Kamehameha wave to like blow up rocks, and then you could go to Kami's tower and Goku's house, which I think was Master Roshi's house. They just had you collecting Dragon Balls over the place. And granted, I know that there are plenty of Dragon Ball games that you can play, but it was just interesting to see this collaboration in Fortnite.
yeah.
Um, it was okay for what it was. It didn't blow my socks off, but it's still just 12-year-old me could never imagine something like this.
Right. Did you
Yeah,
actually play a
this is
match
just
with him?
nah. I'm not spending any money in Fortnite.
No.
Not at this point.
So you don't get the okay. So
No,
you
yeah,
only get
you can buy Goku skin, but you can play as your own skin in the Dragon Ball little adventure thing that they have.
I see.
It
So I
is
played with
legitimately funny to just like have Goku riding around on Nimbus and then he just pulls out the chopper.
Right.
I'm
If
out of
only
key,
he
but
had
I
that
ain't out of
technology
options.
for Cell.
That looks like they have plenty of different skins in there for his different states. So they got Super Saiyan
Yeah.
Goku, they got a Super Saiyan God Goku, they got base Goku, whatever.
They got Ultra
Um,
Instinct and yeah.
Other than that, I started playing. I finally got back into Yakuza 0. I was kind of discouraged the first time because I thought the cutscenes, a lot of the cutscenes are skippable, and then a lot of them are not. And you cannot like, in some games you can just kind of press a button to kind of hurry the dialogue along. Some of this shit you just have to sit through.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but I am up to the portion where you are playing as Majima, and as a Jordan called him, might as well call him Prince. It's interesting to just walk the streets and see people run up to you trying to, run your fade, and y'all are just brawling in the street at this point. I do not like the Virtua Fighter controls, but I mean, I'ma just struggle through it. It feels a slightly disjointed to me. I wish it had, I wish it controlled more like Sleeping Dogs or gosh, what the hell is it? Like Batman Arkham type games for the amount of people that they throw at you sometimes.
So what exactly is wrong with the controls?
When was the
Like,
last time
does
you
it?
played Virtual Fighter?
I think what Sean is trying to elucidate is that it has a very 1v1 control scheme because it's based on a
Yeah.
fighter, and all those games are games where like they've made the game that you're able to physically fight multiple people.
Yeah. So like, all right,
Okay.
in Batman, you can be surrounded by people and press a direction to hit somebody over here, catch somebody trying to sneak you from the back, and shit like that. It's much more fluid in, for my frame of reference, Batman Arkham, whatever game you're playing.
Yeah.
And this one, you're just gonna catch, a bat to the back of the neck because you cannot pivot and hit the person that you see about to hit you.
I
Like
see.
real fighting.
Okay, even off to the side though, it's not like you can't just hurry up and switch to a person real quick. You're locked on to a person until your attack animation is finished.
I
He
see.
was like, "Oh, I thought I was gonna run the ones. I thought this was fair."
But regardless,
Hey.
the presentation and spectacle of this game is very excellent, and I'm gonna play through the series
Oof.
with the power of PlayStation Plus Premium. Anyway,
Ooh.
moving on. DJ, your experience?
So, so I played a couple of games that are, I guess, relatively new. Uh, Cult of the Lamb. The last time I talked about it, I had the save bug, or I had a glitch in the game, so I had to start the game over. Started the game over, played it. I've beat one out of the 4 bosses. It's one of those things where I've just been kind of picking it up here and there when I'm, while London's watching something on TV or something, I'll just kind of play a
Mm.
couple of minutes of it. So I really haven't been focusing on it too much, and I think that's pretty much how it's going to be until I beat the game. It's not really keeping my attention 100% all the time. Um Beyond that, I think I said like a long time ago when we first talked about eFootball, I was like, "Oh, I'll give that a try. It's a free to play football game." I tried it. I played about 3 matches, realized, you know what? It's not for me. So I put it down. The game that I'm here to talk about really is a Yakuza game, like Sean, but not Yakuza 0. It is Yakuza Like a Dragon. So if you remember this game, I mean, how could you not remember this game? Because this game is just completely insane. Uh, Jordan played it and he was raving about how great this game was and just how insane and crazy this game is. I've put in, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 hours in it so far. I'm probably like close to 1/3 of the way through the game, and I'm still like kind of unlocking stuff here and there. But this game is just great. I it is everything that Jordan's been saying about this game. Like, I totally didn't expect to get caught up with the mundane like drama that just happens. Like, the main character you play as is Casca, and he's a Yakuza member, but you get some backstory. You get backstory of everybody. You get backstory of him. He grew up in a brothel and he saw this Yakuza member. He saw the main Yakuza member guy, and he was like, "I want to be like him." So he basically did the hero thing, which was wait in front of the Yakuza building until the patriarchy guy, who's like the leader, recognized him, and that's how he got into this whole thing. But like, there's some twists and turns that happens, and things happen, and you end up having to essentially complete your hero journey. And this is
Yeah.
very much so like, no, this is a video game. This is a video game, and the main character understands his world as a video game to the point where you're
Oh.
running around, you're fighting people, and they will transform into like a video game type enemy. They'll have like red glowing eyes and everything. Mind you, this is like a normal person that's on the street. So it is so much fun. I'm having such a great time with it. I'm trying to find a video of the show while I'm talking, but multitasking is difficult.
I want to point out a funny ass quest line that I had in Yakuza 0. I was going to get sake for somebody, and I seen this line of people waiting outside a grocery store, whatever, convenience store, and this little kid saved up his allowance money to get REQ3, some game that just was a limited edition. Mind you, this is set in the 80s, so no digital downloads. He gets his game, and I think I'm walking down the street, and I see him get robbed by a high schooler. He cries. I'm like, don't worry, I'll go get your game back. I go to approach the high schooler. He gets robbed by somebody else. And he's like, yo, he went that way. I don't have the game anymore. I go to approach that dude. He's like, he gets robbed by somebody at gunpoint. Mind you, the level of violence goes up by every time. So the high schooler robbed a little kid. The high schooler was robbed by somebody with a knife. The guy with the knife got robbed by somebody with a gun. And I go whoop everybody's ass just going down the chain.
Yeah.
And the guy with the gun is like, man, this shit is sold out. I'm just doing this shit for my son. Whoop doo whoop doo. And I'm like, how hilarious would this be if the son he was getting this game for was
That's
the
what I was
little
gonna
boy
say.
originally?
Right.
Sure enough, it was.
That is
And
hilarious.
he's like, hey, how do you know my dad, mister? And he's like, he was helping me get your game back. He's like,
I beat his
I
ass.
sure was. It's just ridiculous shit like this. I think another quest line was this girl was forced into, I forget the word that they use, but she's basically selling her underwear on the street to men who wanted her underwear.
Okay.
And you were supposed to go approach the ringleader to get her to let her out of her contract, whatever. They're like middle school girls. And she's like, man, whatever. Just leave me the hell alone. As you're walking away, some pervert fanatic comes up to her like, you're going to be mine forever. And he's about to like stab her with a knife, but then you intervene at the last minute. And she sees the error of her ways of how dangerous this adult world can be, of sex work, pseudo sex work. This game, it's just crazy. It's bonkers.
Yeah. Like a Dragon follows that exact same line. Like, this wasn't even a quest line. Like, right now I'm about to show us some gameplay. This is like near the start of the game where you're chasing down a person. Oh, what happened? Why did it stop? Did it stop for you guys too? Okay. Yeah, so this guy is basically selling porn to middle schoolers or middle school or high schoolers, but
Get
it's
jumped out.
it's animals. It's like animals having sex. And
Oh,
bas-
nah. He's selling bestiality porn.
No, it's just like straight animals having sex. It's just like he says like, yeah, you know, those kids are so stupid. They don't realize the difference. It's just like, what the fuck?
I believe the term is zoophilia.
Okay.
Oh,
Bestiality
go.
implies sex between a person and an animal. I think
Yeah.
zoophilia
Right.
is two animals.
My man is selling Discovery Channel footage.
And then like later on, I was walking through the streets and this, you know, this flasher guy just approached me and he has a coat on and he's basically moving like a snake. And you're like, what the hell? So you fight him. Of course, he flashes you. He just has like boxers on, but you like knock him down. And then this weird like scientist guy comes and he's like, you found a Sujimon. And you're like, what the fuck? And basically, this professor guy is
Categorized.
there you go. That's the word. He's making this whole Sujimon or Suji decks
Pokedex
of
type
all
shit.
of the like enemies in the entire like city, and it's basically Pokemon. And that first guy is essentially supposed to be like an Ekans, and it's like this is ridiculous. This is just completely ridiculous. But the main difference between this game, I think you saw in the gameplay that I showed, is that this is turn based. So normally Yakuza is a brawler, but this game it's turn based. And normally I'm not really a big fan of turn based games because I don't like sitting there and like getting hit. But
Yeah.
what I like about this game is that they give you option to, I guess, perfect guard, which reduces the amount of damage you get, and you do a perfect guard by hitting circle, which is a guard button, right as the attack happens, and that like, you know, decreases your damage taken. So that stuff is like cool and it keeps me like entertained while I'm playing the game, while I'm doing the whole combat stuff. What I really like about the turn-based combat, and I'm not going to be able to find like an actual clip of it, but like the actual combat itself, or like the punching and kicking, is contextual to the items around you. So if you are near a bike, like Katsuga will grab the bike and like use the bike as part of his attack, or like use a like a caution cone or whatever as part of the attack, or a trash can or something. So you never really know like what's going to happen with the combo, but you just kind of hope that like he grabs the thing that's right next to him, and it's just a great time. So like I'm having a good time with this. Like this was on PlayStation Plus Extra.
Essentials.
Is it Essentials?
It's one of the free games, Essentials games. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I would absolutely, if you have time and you want to
by the
just.
time this comes out, the next game is gonna be out.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Well, hopefully you downloaded this, because if you didn't, well, sorry.
Hey man,
But
as I always say, just add it to your library. You may want to check it out later.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing.
All right. And that it has been it for what we've been playing, and that has been it for this episode. This has been another episode of Press X to Start podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to rate and review us on your favorite podcasting apps, because every little bit helps. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And if you miss any of the details, then you can find this and more on our website at pressx2start.com. Until next time, stay safe, wash your ass, mask up. Peace.